You think she's blissfully unaware? She obviously hasn't watched your program recently. It's going to be good. And the reality is exactly that. This is the suggestion from a royal expert. Everybody's a royal
You could
expert
almost
these days.
feel the emptiness hanging in the air. No claps, no smiles, not even the token chuckle. Just the quiet chime of glasses and the soft glow of phone screens lighting up under the tables. Prince Harry had made a surprise appearance at a Movember Men's Health event in New York, an occasion that should have inspired and uplifted. A royal talking about men's mental health, breaking stigmas, encouraging openness. It sounds admirable. But in reality, no one seemed particularly moved. Harry took the stage looking polished and confident, delivering yet another version of his familiar message about men's loneliness and the importance of connection. He cited statistics, mentioned veterans, and leaned on emotional notes that felt all too familiar, almost word for word from past speeches dating back to the Invictus Games. The issue wasn't what he said. It was that we've heard it all before. Again and again. He spoke about isolation, about how men often believe they're completely alone in their pain. And while that point holds truth, in Harry's case it's not so much loneliness as a lack of awareness. Because when he urges men to open up and talk, many can't help but think, you've been talking nonstop for years, on Oprah, Netflix, and in that tell-all memoir that aired every family grievance imaginable. It's almost paradoxical. The man preaching about mental wellness seems to be processing his own issues on a global stage. And with each new appearance, his words seem to connect less. There's something uncomfortable about being told how to manage emotional struggles by someone whose own life has become a public therapy session. Even the Americans in the audience looked unsure, wondering why a British royal was giving a lecture on American men's mental health. The disconnect was impossible to ignore. It wasn't just about geography, it was about credibility. What does Harry really know about the everyday reality of American men? He's not commuting after a long shift, juggling bills, or fighting an insurance company to get therapy coverage. He's a wealthy public figure living in a mansion in Montecito. When he tried to make his message more relatable by referencing veterans or the Invictus Games, it only highlighted how narrow his experience really is. Of course, PTSD among soldiers is a very real issue, but presenting that as the defining face of men's mental health oversimplifies a deeply complex topic. Harry often speaks like someone skimming the surface of an ocean that others have spent decades diving into. On that stage, surrounded by professionals, psychologists, doctors, and advocates who've built careers studying these issues and helping real people, Harry seemed misplaced. Like a guest speaker no one asked for but couldn't ignore because of his fame. And the crowd sensed it. There was no spark, no energy, no emotional connection, just polite silence from an audience waiting for the next name on the program. The moment that summed it up came when he said, "When men hear, I've been there too, walls begin to crack." The line should have been moving. Instead, it drew quiet sighs and a few awkward glances, because lately, the only walls Harry's been cracking are the ones within his own family. It's hard to separate the message from the man who's publicly blamed those closest to him for his pain. Someone online even joked, maybe he is qualified to talk about mental health. After all, he single-handedly destroyed his family's peace of mind. Harsh, but the sentiment wasn't entirely baseless. What could have been a powerful conversation about men's struggles turned into yet another PR performance. Another attempt by Harry to anchor himself to a cause that might finally resonate. From veterans to climate change to therapy access, each speech feels like a rerun with a slightly different title. The passion seems genuine, but the delivery feels recycled. In the end, the problem wasn't the message. It was the messenger. Advocating for men's mental health is deeply important, but when it comes from someone who's turned personal disclosure into public spectacle, authenticity gets lost in translation. So, as the lights dimmed and Harry walked off the stage, there were no cheers, no applause, only the quiet murmur of an audience politely waiting for the next voice. Someone who, hopefully, had something fresh and meaningful to say.